us. Okay. It's great to see everyone in the beginning of 2022, and we all hope that it becomes an easier year as it goes along. So hope you're all doing well. I'm Wendy Adamek, the Numata Chair in Buddhist Studies, and shortly I will have the honor of introducing His Eminence Neten Rinpoche. But first I'd like to read our land acknowledgement for the land that we live on and receive here in Calgary. So I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising the Siksika, the Piikani, the Kainai, and the Tsuut'ina First Nations, and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. So thank you all for being here, and we will turn shortly, and it's great to see more and more of you appearing on the screen. So we will shortly introduce His Eminence, who is going to talk to us today about how to transform unfavorable circumstances into courage and happiness. Something we all can appreciate at this point. So shall I introduce His Eminence first, or wait until he arrives?
You can introduce His Eminence first.
First, okay. So the Neten Rinpoche's lineage can be traced back to the 11th Arhat, named Lamchung Pharpha Lamchung. The present Tulku Neten Rinpoche Tenzin Gelek was recognized by His Holiness the Dalai Lama as the 9th reincarnated Lama of the Neten Rinpoche lineage. His Eminence Tulku Neten Rinpoche secured the highest Geshe Lharampa Degree, which is like a Ph.D. in Buddhist Studies, only it takes even longer, from SeraMey Monastic University in India. And soon afterwards, he joined the Gyumed Tantric Monastery for higher Tantric Studies and received the advanced degree of Ngagrampa, highest degree in Tantric Studies, and then accepted the position of discipline master and taught at the Gyumed Tantric Monastery. Later, he went back and taught Dharma to sanghas at the SeraMey Monastic University. Since the year 2006, His Eminence, the 9th Tulku Neten Rinpoche, has been residing in Toronto, but travels extensively across the globe for public talks and giving teachings to religious, educational, healthcare, and social institutions. He is the founder, abbot, and spiritual master of the Gyamtse Choling Dharma Centers in Toronto and Calgary, and His Eminence is currently the head Lama of the Laden Monlam Chenmo Canada, the great prayer festival of the Gelek tradition in Canada. More information can be found on the website of Gyamtse Choling. So I now have the great pleasure of introducing His Eminence to come and speak to us. Welcome. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming to speak to us.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to see you again. So long time we have a good relationship, and many times I met you. So today one more time where I can meet you again, and very happy, and just say hello to everyone. So today I see you on Zoom, all of you and myself here, but we have to think also everyone in the world, and even including the animal and all the beings, we have the same common wish that everyone wish to have the happiness, and nobody wants the suffering. Because we have this common wish, so we need to know how to eliminate the suffering and how to acquire the happiness. This is we need to search for the way to bring us the happiness. We just talk about suffering and happiness, but we need to know that for the suffering, we have an inner suffering and outer suffering. For the happiness, it's the same, like have outer happiness and inner happiness. So the suffering that we are experiencing now, when we talk about outer sufferings, that means it's like, you know, the sickness and the weather, the warmth, the cold weather, and everything that affects us, you know, they come outside. And then we know very well that all the outer suffering that is we see, like for example, the tsunami, volcano, earthquakes, and all kind of illness. This is that we facing them all the time. But this comes from the nature. We cannot do anything when this happens. And then it's adding to this suffering come from outside. Then we know that it's suffering from our mind. That we worry, we a lot of anxiety, a lot of difficulty to handle things. Then we feel sick, we feel sad or depressed, all kind of things that make us suffer. Then from outside and inside together, it's become heavy to us. we are able to find a way to eliminate all the suffering. For example, if it's the weather is cold, then we find a way that to make us warm. Like we build the house, we build the road, and then we made the medication to heal all the sickness. We are facing now the COVID, then we have a different way to protect us from this disease. So we always have the way to find to eliminate the suffering. That is outer suffering.
Happiness.
And then this is the with all of this way to find out, we find the happiness from outside.
다들 mental in the 망고요. 다 낭래야, 쌤 낭래야 happiness. 지기 변화가서 다네 그나 저거 그는 매로 소파. 정말 그 소파 입었던데 쌤이 디기 대화대 차바지 두고 그래서나 난게 디기도 두고 말해. 난게 디기 두고나 난게 썸먹당 말되는 두고 말해.
So whatever we try the way to eliminate the outside suffering, this way cannot help us, cannot heal the suffering from inside. Not enough to heal our suffering from inside. Only with the effort to transform our mind, to work with our mind, then we will be able to eliminate the suffering, inner suffering.
Suffering happiness.
And then that we can find the happiness.
다 난게 happiness 주야디 만주 무당이야 매버리 니현다가 제야 매버리 소소랑기 삼모 땅에 코네 난게 happiness 소부고 여버레.
And the inner happiness or happiness of the mind, you cannot use the money to buy it. You cannot use medicine to help it. Only our effort to transform our mind can heal and bring happiness to ourselves. That is very, very important to think about. And for the Buddhists, that we apply, we practice the Dharma to be able to bring us the happiness for the mind.
그래서 이 대리만도 시야지야 또 난생기 중에 되만도 치기 돌아게 서프링까지 말이 달라요 말이에요. 난생기 중에 돌아다가 내 최신이다. 근데 난 외신다 뜻대로 차네. 아니 가나가서 말도 못 주지야. 아주 디스크시야. 시야지야 원들이지.
So today we don't talk much about how we can find a way to eliminate all the suffering from outside and also to find the happiness from outside, because all of us know how to do it. It's very important to know, to find a way to know our own suffering and the way that we want the happiness from inside. So we will discuss and share about the way we practice to be able to transform our mind.
다 가르쳐나 나라도래야. 다 미지나로, 미 라이트나로라. 다 동해시 연구를 봐. 부분 너가 담을 봐. 망고시 연구여 봐래. 담을 봐. 망고여 봐. 카도 들어야. 다 나라도 담을 봐. 다 간다 더블이나로. 강나로 간이 유대 간이 생이지. 다 아주 거기 나다도 간이 상말로 여봐. 아주 강가를 총무서 와. 양. 다 뒤마이미 간이 소소라는 게 소소소소로 민다 간이 연구여 봐래.
So now we are experiencing a really big suffering. It's not just only ourselves, but the whole world, everyone, every being suffer because of this difficult time. And then it's even with that difficult time, it will bring us some experience in this lifetime.
그나 코비 나다도 상말로 suffering 도 좀. 다디마요 all so suffering 민다 different suffering 아주 미지나라 라지나라 요거래.
So now with the COVID problem, everyone suffered the same way, but each of us, we have various suffering of our own.
Yeah, different many things 요거래. 다디도 컨데스 있으나 다디 요발 때문에 미지나라 라지나라 근데 요발 때문에 다들이야 제부면도 니즈 중고 요래 suffering the 제부.
And this in our life we all the suffering brings the two results.
그래서 다직 미즈나라 간에 총과된 다음도 셈 기본이 셈 동시 나랴. 어다 다가는 신기 아니 가르스나 다셈 좁으자야. 나가는 셈이야. 코로용이야. 나가는 신기 셈이야. 덕바용이야. 아까 이제 딜을 때는 미진하고 간이 때문에 마스터에 돈이 민다고 망고 신고도 봐.
So you can see that they come from the suffering is two results that affect us. First of all, that we feel in the we fall in the negative state. That means we are depressed, we very sad, we full of anxiety. Sometimes we get angry, and then we can have many non-virtuous action can happen. That is one part of negative part of the result of the suffering. And also we doubt, and then we lose the confidence on kind of things. And with that result, that our mind become very narrow, and then to the extreme, then we can take away our own life. That means we suicide, or we can have any frustration and create a harmful act to others.
다 로또는 차베가래야 나 뱅고가 친구이 그거 가서 뱅고벌이야 아니 이메지 다 로마 말아진들에 하는 록다운 쳔도 막다 규준이나 바도 가르스는 지게지 아지게 망고 딱 아까까네 카메라 대고 샘프도 통과 쳐지 샘때 내로도 차체 아니 소소소소 컴백하는 좀 시도와 그래서 말하는 잡아줘 마음은 잡아지 이 가르스나 샘 마치 가서다 샘 쪽이 시비잖아 록다운 샘 차도 좀 근데게 샘 쪽이 자 가르스 샘 중만 근데 좀 말이야.
One story about that as I experienced lately, that during the lockdown situation, I went to Vancouver, and I know one person, because of the narrow-minded, because of the frustration and also the depression, one person jumped from her house and killed herself. And then you can see that is that is one of the cause of the suffering.
다행히도 쌤생이들이 아니지 치우시라고 그래. 치간일에 난쌤간인 게 그래. 그래서나 나도 록다운 때 제가 그것도 일부러 간역해요 말해. 사회통합에 간역했나비. 쌤 무슨 도구치지. 아니 뭐게 용어 쌤이 간이 싶어서 와. 나도 너도 지구게 보고요. 해피니스 어떻게 또 보고요. 그래.
Then when you can see the difference between the suffering come from outside and the suffering from inside, then even outside our body during the lockdown time, like our cell, our body, physically, we are fine. We have food, we have a place to stay, we have everything, but we are not happy. But our mind suffers. Our mind is affected by that lockdown situation, and then we can will lead us to the negative action.
There many happening with
and many things happen like that. So that's why when we say that we need to find the happiness, that means we have to make effort to build something for inside, for our mind.
나도 간에 좋아되니 동네기 당신 심버지제 동네에서 학과버지 동네들 세주세 동네 근데 정도 약부 신주세 딱지세 안에 동네디 세야게 탑지고 이거래요.
So that we talk about the first result of the suffering, but now come from the suffering we have the second result. That means we become stronger. We know, we identify the suffering and where it come from, and that is the nature. This is the nature. The suffering happen all the time, and then we need to check and understand the suffering, and then we find a way. We don't let our mind lead us to the miserable state. Then we find a way to the courage to overcome it. This is also the second result of the suffering.
다 드네요. 아주 냠뇨 망고 싸요. 다 말씀아. 내가 동네디 까야 답이다. 나 자신은 아주 코피기 나서 영화를 상말로 신주체 나도 커넥션이 딱 제시 올 때 제부 상가도 2020 2021 big difference 차고도 와. 딱 2022 차에 이제 신화 충돌을 봐. 신화 충돌 내 가서나 다 딱히 싶었더니 어떻게 있어야 그 내가 또 같이 내도 메디슨 서버더니 무슨 마 비스마 차고 봐. 그래서 근데심이 좋아요.
Because we don't let the suffering dominate us, so we need to check and to find a way to overcome it. So that way you can see our state of mind different from 2020 to 21 and now 22. It's a big difference. We are less worried. We know how to deal with the problem. We find a way to protect us. And the anxiety and the worry and every negative state of mind is diminished. It's lighter and lighter.
어디도 봐. 다들 이거 쌤 생애들은 나도 신주체 딱 대신에 쌤 좁으시는 대화도 기본적인 거 봐. 딱 제시고 계신 것도 봐.
So that's why when the things that happen to us like that in the difficult situation happen, we need to check, we need to analyze, we need to find a way. Then our mind is no more narrow. Our mind is more broader and find many remedies for that.
내 자세 신부 시원하게 숨겨버려. 그래서나 얘들 주스 유난히 들어미가 지시해. 얘들 주스면은 들어미가 지시차. 쌤 동해 주요는 동해들이야 준 지부자가 주요에나 쌤 좁으시는 게 보고 말했어. 합시 당쇼 자세 신부 시원하게 숨겨버렸어. 다 그때 동해 주용을 찾기 소득 주는 면 양조 쌤들과 동해 지면 동해 타바체 들레쌤 파털을 내주신 거. 쌤 동해 있어야 매면은 그래서 우리가
So that's why the great Master Tsongkhapa, Santideva, he said that if in this there is a remedy, what good is it to be unhappy? But even if there is no remedy, what good to be unhappy? So that means if something is like some unfavorable circumstance happen to us, if we find a solution, why we are unhappy? We need to work on that, work very hard to make that solution happen. But if we don't have a solution, why we have to be unhappy? Because we always have a way to get out of that situation. So don't let your mind to be in that negative state.
very tight in their room.
So we don't need to make our mind so tight and then it leave us into the depression.
Yeah, the matter is patient for it. That the day that Marantu Tunges in Suva, Tunge, you over Tunge, Lamchung, Esper Manguchi, you.
And then one thing about the suffering, we always think the suffering is bad, but from the suffering will give us a lot of experience.
Suffering is quality in the suffering.
So suffering is not only always bad, suffering can help can bring us also the good qualities.
Very good. Then Shashayana, another copy nothing, lockdown shelter samba. Oh, Tangarantu, Kanyam, we think it was Mary, Takioshinan, Yongo, Mary, Jalari, Kangashinan, Saison, Sari, Kangamuchulo, Yongo de Samba, Tadina Mara, lockdown shelter, Tango to Mindua, Kavache, Kanyam Mudua. That's some of Savage leverage. Tango to Pilan, Tangarantu, Nango is so good to that. Master, we have Chico good dinner, Kanyam Mudua. Idea Savage like the was.
So you can
open child was mine.
So you can see that the suffering is give us experience during the lockdown time. Then we cannot receive the good material or whatever medicine or ever come from another country. Then we don't know what to do. We don't have enough thing for our life. So now with that experience, then we make effort to build medicine ourselves, to produce the wood ourselves. Then we have a self-sufficient thing to live our life without depending on other country. So you see that the suffering gives us experience.
Quality, I would want.
And also the quality because we make effort to make things happen.
What did you do? That Pena Shashagina, Taralangi, Yamang, Lijusia was 1915 and Lamando, the Vatican to lose Charles. Lose Samba, that's Samalo, my why you some that's Samalo Torres. Being a Dalai, Lama to the Sheptition, Lama young Lama to the Sheptition, the step is the colors on your Kanga. 당하는 이제 리치 패밀리 돌아가 부부도 가서요. 다 낸디 피든다 라마 인도 삼아 상마 저도 다 자가라마 저도 삼아 다 망가로 공부짓는 거 보니까 나와지 나와니 이제 뭐예요 그래. 근데 거기 내고라 다 가서 가르 거래. 가 세워 봐. 당연히 쉽지 주니에도 다 망가로 삼아 아니 칼라스 신기요 말에 아니 신도 내땅 신기요 말에 축구에 신고 칼라 까냐 뭔가 채워야 다포 패밀리기 소소 세미 에지도 칼라스야 라까니 요마레 랑갈 멍부지 소소랑 녀마 냠뇽고 토네 세도 데시만 데게 캬바도와
I can give you another example that is from our own country, like 1959 when the Tibet lost the country. A lot of people escaped from Tibet to India. So there were young Lama, young rich people, poor people, all kind of people try to escape. And it takes maybe 1 or 2 months to go to India. So during the road, the journey of to escape, then young Lama used to have the service people to cook the food before, to cook the food, to take care of everything. Rich people are the same. They always have somebody to do something for them, and they don't have experience to cook or to do anything. Then during the journey of using the travel, they don't know how to even gather all the wood together, make a fire, and cook something to survive. But the poor people, they the same age, even young or old, they had experienced the suffering, the poverty in their life, and then during that time, they knew how to do it. They can cook, they can find different ways to survive. So you can see that is, you know, the poverty and the suffering bring us some experience to be able to cope with the difficulty. And then it's at that time, but we didn't have an airplane to travel. Everyone had to ride the horses or walking across the big mountain to go to another country.
No road, also.
So very important in our life, we need to have experience.
다 달롱한도 록다운 제도 상황을 에스페레 먹고 차요. 그래서 록다운 제도 상황을 고려 봐. 다 그중에서 상황을 이지칭 이제 칼라 오로데네 남사 사주요 누구로 봐. 다 다른 록다운 제도 상반다 상말로 칼라 소마싱의 전에 딱 간데서도 다야. 근데 록다운 신에 싸우지 말고 라이지를 인터넷에 지금 딱 간데 칼라 간데서도 그래서 록다운 제도 상황을 살아가 말아. And
you can see the songs from the suffering also will make us learn more. For example, during the lockdown, before we used to have a time to go to restaurant to eat, to to have a good food. But now with the lockdown, we cannot go to restaurant. Then we stay home, and we're tired of the way we're cooking because we are not a good cook. So now many people go to internet and looking for the way how to cook things, and they have a time, and then they cook, and then they enjoy their food. So you see that is we always find a way to learn from that difficulty.
Yeah, many things. This is suffering.
So you see that is from the suffering, we also get the good quality.
그래서 영화 보고 그랬어. 나 나가는 신기 가르쳐 말해. 아니 야세신 보시와라게 만주 동해의 퀄리티 거래. 동해의 때문에 아니 말한도 맞게 매서 그래. 아니 심지어는 이게 인지기 그래. 두송을 했어. 가르쳐나 가르쳐 쪼에 제버스 버체 코어 인지기 반대에 안 잡수 보시와라 좀 와.
And then also the Great Master Santideva, he said that is one good thing that the suffering bring to us is that because of the suffering, then it helps us to destroy our pride, arrogance, and then promote our compassion and loving kindness toward others. So that's why he said the words like that. And suffering others' benefits are loss of right, the truth, wisdom, compassion for samsara beings, rest of evil, and love of good.
어, 다이어트 동행 때는 연대들하고 저것도 와서 많이 스텝치는 맞았지. 연대들하고 저것도 와.
So if we know about that and if we understand this, then when the difficulty comes, we don't get the narrow-minded. We don't need to be depressed about that because we know that is we can have something positive get from that difficulty.
Understood. 다 소소도 동행 총회나 때 맞이 충도 두고 있어. 맞이 신이 여배나 한 만도 줄이야. 아니 말도 맞이 여배나 랑 마오나 이부다. 랑도 냠바를 계산이야. 랑 폴라 타도게야. 인디게 셈을 여봐야지.
So normally with the ego, pride, arrogance, they are not a good quality. And whoever have this kind of attitude, you to see, you look down on the people with lower position, a lower profile than us. We used to compete with people is the same level of the same quality that we have, and we used to harm others if they better than us in any situation. So that comes from pride, arrogance, ego, that if we want to say. And then with the suffering, we have this will help us to eliminate this pride, arrogance.
다 동네 종에는 상가 동네 요래 나 근데 동네 종 콜라스 데스네 되게 많은 사람이 인지인 거예요. 하나 아로간 마버서 인지 종나 아니 말하고 상관으로 인지 하고 요래나 아니 시기랑 신경이 편함랑 신경이 물어봐. 타동 아제 두네베나 인지 오나 상관으로 비슷하고 물어봐.
And because of that suffering, now we suffer, then we understand the suffering of others. And suddenly it arises in our mind stream a kind of good quality like loving kindness, compassion, understand other people. And when our mind is in peace and full of love, we will bring peace, to everyone. And also we make everyone is live in harmony. So it's very important that it comes from our mind, the way our kind attitude will bring love to everyone.
다 다른 믹스에 나라도 코비 나될 겁라 아니 누구네 세바 상부신으로 과신이 망고도 와 차례지 지정 원래로 과신이 지라도 와 아니 게로부터로 과신이로 게르소스로 과신이 망고 지라도 와이 시부지기 인지 용화랑 간이 타고 버린다 과정은 인지심으로 과신이 그래 This the peace, happiness. Happiness.
And then you see now many countries try to help the country in the difficulty. Many people do the charity and help the needy people. And whatever they have something happen in their life, that everyone around the world try to help these people. So you see that from the suffering of the disease, we have a more compassion, more love, more understanding, and then we make everyone happy, release their suffering, and we're happy to do this kind of act. So you can see that this is one way to bring the happiness to ourselves, to others, through the difficulty. So you see that is the suffering doesn't make us all the time suffer. Sometimes and then we can see, we always say that is okay, this sickness is worse, and we always keep that negative talk in our mind. But if we think a little bit deeper, we will see that this helps us to take care of ourselves more. We think about our health more. We eat well, we protect us with different kind of things. We have a medicine, and we very careful of whatever we do. So you can see that even in the difficulty, in the suffering, we take care of ourselves more than before. And protection.
This sickness, maybe suffering, we have the chance to, we have the protection. Cannot jump to other way. This we have control. Some suffering we cannot control. That's why this is less than problem, not the suffering. Want to say, I don't know my English understand or understand. On the English. I don't know the suffering Kasha, touching for a never. That's an automatically young Manatolia, protect my Harichine, you might ever not to give it to me, Nave doing it, Chive doing it, yeah, God, not cheating issues. They want to protect Jacka never. Automatically good one.
And it's very important for us to know also there are some suffering that we cannot control. We cannot do anything about that. Nothing can help us. Then we need to know it's more suffering than whatever happened to us. That they are the suffering of birth, suffering of old age, suffering of sickness, and suffering of death.
Oh, that's the ring of those suffering like that. The kitchen which you over it. Suffering hack over enough. I think also happiness can just so go out and half over it. Suffering how much happiness so that half over my suffering the case but do that.
Today, why I talk a lot about the suffering, because it's very important for us to know very well about the suffering. Then we will find a way to find the happiness. If we just take lightly the suffering and then we don't talk about the suffering or don't contemplate anything about the suffering, it's not easy to find a way to bring us back.
Then Chickberry, Nasa Chivana, Nasa Canadian, taxation, and a copy nothing, taxation 710, or the Canadian candidate, taxation, and then Nasa did never saw mess or to good work. These are not suffering the half over then, and the suffering the car saying some of them and the car you were losing.
Yeah, it's like if we get the COVID, that this disease, then we understand what is happened with that. Then according to what happened to us, then we find different kind of medicine or different way to eliminate that. So that's why it's very important to understand the suffering.
On the race, in that we give it in the Canadian automatic you would have it. Then I'm a keep a note near Mongoose to just a changing their face. I'm a keep a Tagara we gave it in the Sukuyo. Can go see again. I'm going to name the
So we are experiencing the suffering at the time of birth. So the suffering of birth that we don't remember now, but at that moment when we was in the mother womb, already we had the suffering. And then with the time pass, even in the mother womb, we are getting old already. So the birth and the old age come together.
100 years definition, even Nimone, and go 100 years to Chin, and can go low, you can Takabo, so Mabatan, Gangalo, Tango, give a Tagana put to the Matisma, Sagitation, and Chabramando, automatically Lord Lamchung Marva. He's happy to do one second about GPT to do your mother. This is some give it to me, cost me a good harvest.
So suppose that we have 100 years to live. And then we don't need to say that until 100 years that we are getting old. The moment that we come to this existence, then it's already we getting older than ourselves before. And then many signs happen, like we start to have a white hair, we lose the teeth, we have all kind of wrinkles. All of this is a sign of the old age. And then we suffer.
This one start beginning, mother one bomb. That moment we stuck there. Then slowly go to take 10. Then all this age coming. No suddenly 80 years, 90 years, complete no come. Small bone chain, this can move to them there. Slowly go this way. Come from OA, Katana, this bone chain is up.
Yeah, and the birth and the old age
suffering
it come together.
This is. So
if we know about that, we think about that, then we will be able to help us to release the suffering when it happens. So, and then another suffering, that the suffering of sickness. You see now the whole world, everyone is suffering.
다에서 나도 카시는 분명히 당에 다 카시는 암지기 다 돌아 나서 자아는 또 캔슬 나서 망고도 나 돌아면 당에 대한 말 카시나 다 하는 거 내리 셈도 그냥 15 지제 셈 내로인데 부도 또 차는 뭐 지금 되기도 와 다빙아도 나도 최근에 지금이나 아마 팩트 너와 산지 최근에 지금이나 다 망고 지금 눈에 내봐서 아마 망고 땅만 요래.
And we always think about that, oh, because of the COVID, that the whole world suffer because of the sickness. We only think like that. With so many sicknesses happen in our life, even if the incurable sickness like the cancer, nobody can help. Now with the COVID or other sickness, we can have some medication to help us. So we know that is by nature, this suffering happen to our life. And then we cannot escape of that. Then we think about that, and then we know how to deal when this has happened. So that's why we find a way to overcome it.
Sometimes, yeah, maybe doctor say now you are then maybe something big sickness. You cannot have medicine. Now cannot choice anything cannot do. They have talk to. Then people mind narrow, big suffering. Now cannot do anything. No medicine, no help. Doctor cannot do anything. Ready to do anything cannot do, then mind narrow, then big suffering. Now you have the something people in the have the religion Dharma practice. Then this suffering why handle? Then understand what do.
So Rinpoche means that is when you have the practice of Dharma or religion, that have find a way how to deal with our feeling and to release the suffering because we know that it happened.
다 내고 생각도 Dharma practice입니다. 로하타 취해서게 되는 앞에 제가 당은 취해서니 매닝이보다 해봐 먹고요. 취해서들이야 release 시작했으니 아이디어 먹고 삼았다가 요래.
You can see the big difference between the practitioner who practice Dharma and know how to cope with all of this difficulty, this suffering, comparing with the people who don't practice anything and also keep narrow-minded and no belief in anything. You see the difference in the suffering between the two people.
Yes. 나 지금 되게 다시 얘기도잖아. 아마스게 접, 파파스게 접, 아니 프렌드게 접, 아무튼 컨트롤이야. 그 대신에 되기도 와.
So if you don't practice, you know the way of the changing your mind, then you can you cry and you can cry to mother, father, you can get angry, you destroy things because you don't have anything else to practice to dominate your mind.
다 개발하려서는 최신이지만 최신이지만은 다 다른 거 나서가 안디 자요 말했어도 다들 교황 남았어 하시를 내년 받은 다리 이렇게 다 보셔. 내가 다른 얘기 뱅네 배샤야는 다 기본 막 저기 다른 얘기 다 보셔. 산다 삼로나 비슷이 마요. 어떤 애들이 패지기. 나들 교와 치마 next level 데 영 먹어 가지고 그랬어. 삼보시 보이 그랬어.
It's for the Dharma practitioner. Then if it happens that is we know that we have the sickness, then we can transform this kind of narrow mind or negativities into the virtuous action by thinking like this. Oh, this is my former karma. Now it's ripened on me. So now I look like I paid the debt. I borrow something. Now I pay the debt, and later on I don't have any negativity to bring me to the lower state. So if you think that way, then we release more worry and suffering.
당가 디디사 매베네 당에 동해 총하다 나를 교황하게 레냐 파사베 데브리 사베선다 참바상이양 이게 많이 막 비슷하게 다시야 같이 가서 나도 자아내고 삼고 거기 있나양 너무 비슷하게 보여요.
And another way of thinking that, oh, because this is a former negative karma, that is now I'm suffering, so I will be pleased to do the virtuous deed, and then I accept that kind of bad karma.
This comes from my purpose, like bad karma. Then his mind automatically will come down. Look like before, oh, I want to do something naughty. Automatically come down, chakras. So 100% will come down, less suffering. Now, this master Karasana, 아니 딜레 말아도 가르스나 삼보 두당 발때 다 다른 건 나샤스한테 샘 사고 보면 가르스나 아니 네 나사 디기 삽치지 신제 시행들이 정말이네 만나쇼 그게 심만 야구 요거래 그들 톤에 아니 나도 샘 상고 디가 떡이 가르스나 디지 소프로 듣는 중에 요거래 샘부터 듣는 두스에 그래.
And another way of contemplate or thinking that to transform all the suffering into the virtuous act. For example, you think that, oh, now I am suffering, my sickness represent the sickness of all the sentient beings. So with the suffering I have now, may that suffering of others will be eliminated. So in the same time, if some unfavorable condition happen to you, but you made that become a virtuous action by thinking about others, release the suffering of sickness of others, because your suffering, your sickness is you take over yourself. Just thinking like that is already made you feel good about that, you know, about having a good thought for others.
then
And for the Buddhist practice, if we have this kind of thought, you know, with this kind of motivation, we create the merit, and also it helps us to purify all the negative things.
아니 가르스나 안다디나라 아니 벤제를 보고가 추기된 그 송도와 예주 이게 용가 메르도는 차터 버주다 랭에제부 소리 주는 띵에 남도는 거 챙겨로 아니 라마다 산제 비가 제름 나오나 진 송도와 비시기.
So that why the pension Rinpoche pension Lama is say that please bless me to take the miserable conditions as a path by seeing them as causes to exhaust my negative karma, seeing the world and its beings are full of fruit of our evil and unwished for suffering to pour down like rain. So sometimes we need to pray and you ask for the blessing. With that will make yourself you feel good about that, because this is the virtuous thought.
네가 담아 그 뒤진데 미지스네 니 라이브로 봐. 서프링이 먼저 속고도 유차대 시고라. 서프링이 오토매틱 냠도 여러분도 서프링이 세트 차 매버다. This body you chinjala suffering automatic suffering separate maraka.
And then we need to think it deeper, that is as long as we have this human body, human form, this suffering comes from that.
Together, never have separate. Have we have body, we have suffering. Never have the separate. Today you got it. Think of some of 인자 다 개침보 가르쳐나 마음속이 미지 나로라 미지 전다 된바 등이 들고 봐. 미지 전다 된바서 셈상고 셴라 펜슨 지야디 랑기라 누나 이수디 상근월로 봐 두. 나 카이네스는 유튜브. 이 주문하는 미지 나오 미겨만을 봐. 원다 두고 그래. 나도 나도 미지 전다 된바 상말로 불러봐. 미지 전다 된다 지야디 나 상근월 줘. 누나 이수 뭐고 그래.
Now we know that as long as we have this human form, physical forms is always bring us the different kind of sufferings. So now we need to build our good mind. We become a kind-hearted person. We have a kind-hearted mind, honest mind, and beneficial mind. So we need to think about my life. In this life, my life needs to be meaningful. I have to live my life in a meaningful way. I will control my body, speech, and mind, my physical action, verbal action, and also my mind to become virtuous and beneficial as much as I can. So if we think that way, then we will do our attitude and action will, according to our virtuous thought, will lead us to a really meaningful life, because we benefit others.
내려봐. 다디어도 봐서 못 당다. 또디 누가니는 생들이스. 나도 나는 소포 나는 구제 겸마트는 생기 전에 나도 meaningful life 소도도 와. Missing is a special believers.
It's very important. It's our mind. Our mind is the main thing that leave us our state, our life. Because even our body, physically we are sick, but if our mind is virtuous, we still lead our life in a meaningful way, a beneficial way.
We sick, look like cannot move body, the mind, we do the anything, many things change. That's why meaningful life. We body cannot moving, the mind, many things do. That's a special human being. That's meaningful life, really. What is it? That's the reason why another some do stand on that day you are rest. That day, Master, Narazolea, and Navi to me. Chive to me. That Chive to me is me. Chive to me to be young, Neko condition to half over. Chive, this will be. Master hope to take another Shikimari, some of the Master Titan get that law. Jan, you just did some of Mogotan of Shikima, but now a child to us.
So when we know that the suffering comes from birth, from the old age, from the sickness, now another suffering that we cannot escape is death. When we talk about death, it's not something that is made us to worry about or scared, or we don't think that we live forever, 200, 300 years, something like that. We need to be aware that death will come.
This summer tanga then the thing to touch about then you and Nimodilla and suffering never child with it. The particular death delay so I know to send the channel from under something with it, but did never to that. What I think of the half over who's it? But the guy need never saw it.
So when we think about death and we know that we cannot escape from death, one day will come, then it's not because of that is we worry or we scare or we don't want it, but because we are aware of this happen. So now we have to do something meaningful and beneficial and then peaceful. When the death comes, we have done something for it.
Yeah, ready with that.
And then we ready to deal with death in a peaceful way.
Yeah, this is what it is. This tradition is it. That is also coffee, tango, coffee, super, near my in the tradition. Because it's another you tradition, not the Shanachar one. When the tradition was then, Jama Yong Kadura. Lady and
yeah, so it's the same like when we have a different level of thinking when the COVID disease happen, then first time we do something, and then when something happen, the second phase, then we have a different way to do.
Now we plan. Oh, now is the first one. Now second one comes soon, third one comes soon. Then we have to repair many things. Then after COVID coming, we have ready. Then no dangerous. Look like similarly, that one they come sure 100%. Now we need to repair something. Then that coming, then we not have the mind suffering, mind peacefully die. That's why now we need to repair. This is a big problem. We cannot choice. That's one. This way. I don't understand. Walking English. No follow my English. So meaning just follow English, then your English speaking.
If just don't follow his English, your English will be broken. Follow his meaning.
One day I talked to in the Hamburg College on teacher. All the time meet together working. Every day work together. Then I'm talking the English. He good English talking, I don't understand. He broken English talking, I cut. Now all the way together working, talking the broken English. He tried to the broken English, then I understand. He correctly talking, I don't understand. Every day use this way. One day he go to teaching STEM, then he habit. Then we teaching, then he broken English talk. And we students say, teacher, your English what happened today? Really broken. What happened? Then he think, oh, come from Rinpoche. That's why sometimes I broken English talking, you are broken English. Yeah, that's it. 다 인자 개심부를 다 인자가도 치와들이야. 네버 치와 삼바. 난주실이 이미 삼바. 집에 쉬면도 관계자면 봐. 소민부를 개시시 삼바도 땅 거예요.
So when we talk about that, we need to contemplate that is the contemplating the certainty of that. And the second one that we contemplate the uncertainty of the time of death. And also the contemplating that when we die, nothing except the Dharma can benefit us.
다 당부지 같은 예바치와 삼보 땅을 때는 나랑도 시기 말에서는 아이 시기 말에서는 거예요. 상기성하고 흘러나는 데데 시고 망고 플랜 지그래 봐. 그냥 안주 누구디 이제 차복해 말이 치총조를 돼. 그래서 저는 심지어 두루 플랑제 다다다 시도 좋고 땅도 꼭 그렇게 말이 쉬쉬거려. 맨날 산지 좀 된게 아니 로지상 그 꿈이 그래야 단지면에 뭔가 더 하면 됐다 다시 좀 바꿔야 다시 누구 같이 때 저나 자꾸 때 제가 쉬다가 카메라에 아니 무슨 문제 뭔가 제주 아니 이제 시바 가서는 괜히 이제 탐제 믿다 봐오 이미 이제 시바 좀 탐험인가 이게 지금 탐험 문제 이제 뭐가 더 그때도 봐 안도나 라마니 뭐 말아 왔어 야 어디 간지네
The thing about our body is very fragile. It's not strong as we think. Comparing with the body of the animal is stronger than our body. So we are exposed to so many danger that can take away our life. Then death is certain because it's, as long as we have this body, then one day it will be degenerated and gone. So you can see that even a body of the Buddha is an adamantine body, but at the time that of passing to Nirvana, he still had to leave his body to go to Nirvana. So at the last minute of his life, he opened the upper dress of his body and show honor to the honor of the student to see the Arhat, to see the Ra way to see the body of the Buddha. And he said, my last teaching to you that impermanence, always impermanent. So that's why we very important. Impermanence and death is all the time follow us.
맞아. 그뒤에 다 계신부터 봐. 임퍼먼트 계신부터 다 돼요. 그래서 나는요. 다른 시간은 그 시야스는 두들려서 뭐 에스케이프 하는 거래. 저는 맹가지는 직도니 전에 보시기도 왔던데 다 맹가들 맹가 포즈도 better in this one suggestion that do니 시야 두들려 라면 시기도 그래. 그래도 봐.
So it's very important to understand the impermanence. Things can be changed. When the time that the death comes, even if no place in the world that we can escape, we can go to hospital, we can have a medicine, but it's the time that we have to be gone, then it's nothing.
Sometimes we this hospital, not hospital, better change. Anyway, there can not hospital go also die. Cannot escape in the not place. That can automatically die. Cannot choice. What do you want to touch over? 다가오는 신기 아니 예봐도 같은 시기에 대한 다 예봐도 남지치는 이미 삼바 나도 빌려 삼바다니 나도 예봐도 시기도 아 삼바더니 다시 한번 삼고치고도 이 여럽치고도 무슨 전화 좀 치고도 삼에서 밀려고 거예요. 이 시야 삼바더니 당도 약보치기 삼바도
And we need to think deeply about and be aware that about the uncertainty time of death. We don't know when we die. We cannot plan when we die. That's why we don't know what will happen to us in the next moment. So that's why every time, every moment of our life, we try to be a good person.
Meaningful life.
And meaningful, lead to the meaningful life because we don't know when we'll be gone.
일단 같은 시기에 대해서 예봐 요 말했어. 저는 남지치는 이미 있어요. 로경고 차는 시기요. 로청주 차는 시기 하고 말해. 로청주 시기 신년 먹고 다 인사 구역이 수남면에 다 먹고 그때 룸좀 좀 하리케인은 같은 시기고 통신주의 시기도 와. 너무 와. 맞돌아 요 말했어.
So we cannot say that when we get old and we die young, we cannot die. So we cannot think that way. So many young people die before the senior people, old people. You can see a lot of natural disaster happens, tsunami, volcano, earthquake, all kind of things. Then it took away a life of many young people. And then they even didn't plan for that. It just happened like that overnight. So that's why we need to understand that our life can be gone anytime.
So
that's why we again tell ourselves that I want to become a good person. Everything I do should be meaningful and beneficial. And then we need to think that to overcome of that worry about that death, that we have to think that our body is just like an old house, you know. And then if it happens that we die, we can change to a new house. From an old house, we change to the new house. That means it's like we will continue to have a different form with, you know, a change for better.
다 가르스나 new house 영화들 house good house that house 다 수수 까마레스. 나는 그 미디디 나려야 내 야포지 사바당 셈상고 제나 이 제부들에 야포지고 그래 good house라고 그래. 이 that karma control of the chen 정말이나 아니 이거 일단 나도 네바도 치셈 영화 시간 한번 됐으면 시기지 계신 뭐 계신 셈상고 밀레 편도자 자바 인지 자주 셈자 남배신 자주 셈자 다디면에 자바 인지가 그 하고 그래 그래서 공투베나 아니 겨와지만 야포지입니다 한번 야포지도 두고
So good house or bad house or good condition or bad condition in our life or the future is in our hand, is our karma. If we live with a virtuous attitude and the meaningful and beneficial way, then the new form, the new house that we just talk about the house as an example, like the new house we can have. If we live all the time with the harmful act, with the anger, hatred, or different negativities, then we build our life, our destiny will be that according to what we do. That's why we, when we practice, we say that bad or good thing we get depend on bad or good karma that we have created.
그래서 다 계시부시라도 와서 정말 한번 나한테 쭉 캐는 게 요면이나 다 비슷한 망고 당하도 와. 다 맞다를 정도 지기도. 시행이 되면 뭐 아니 삼바상도 보고입니다. 전나바다바 지기인다. 시행은 텐션 지기인다. 마인드 비지 샤그레 땅가 시도시기도 전에 마이 그래 코너도 되고 오면다. 망고시야요. 마인드 비지 지는 거야. 근데 이거 그래.
If we have the habit to conduct our life in the virtuous way, and then at the time of death, then we very peaceful, we know what we do, and then we have done a lot of good things, and then we know that what the future will bring us. Then we have even more open mind, it's more love and more virtuous thing arises. But if we have the habit of living in the negativities, and then at the time of that, we also very scared, very tense, and we raise up that negativity, then we suffer more at the time of that.
그래서 최근에 지나 내내 많이 비슷한 통화가 sembar 기ፈል을 치죠. 다 보다 받아지, 다 남았대 보다 받아지, 셈상 보다 받아지, 다 뒷반에 하다 패턴지 삼 해피 주 통화 비슷한 다 하다 여와치마 주나 야부 정도 하버리 삼버를 요래.
So that's why if we know how to practice Dharma, then we at the time of that, before we leave this life, we have no regret. We say that we have done a good life. We have done a very good thing that, you know, for myself and others, and our mind becomes very peace, and then we just go with what we believe that, you know, with that peaceful mind, with the virtuous action we have done in our life will bring to the good end. So we feel less suffer at that when that time comes.
Yeah, more that maybe mind more peaceful. Now I next life maybe better thing. Now we do the good thing. You have the mind rejoicing, many rejoicing. At that moment we have rejoicing. Then I good thing, many things do more rejoicing, more happy. That's it. Big difference. 다 워낙 간댔으네. 알아도 시와도 그대 모르구나. 당연히 하고 그래. 따르고 뭐 시점 참으면 다 액시던트들 차니 시베이나 다 직상모도 요 말데 디스플레이션에 뭐 나는 정보들이 이메나 다 따만도 좋아요. 이게 아니 아주 소부디 중앙시대 차버린다. 중앙시대를 가르도 상관 따면다고 그러시거든요.
So that's why to find a way to overcome that suffering of death and the suffering of that impermanence and death is very important to us to understand what happened when we leave this life. We need to understand the process of dying. What if we have suddenly an accident and we die right away, then we don't have to think. But now it's a time for us to understand. if we die, what will happen to our body and mind. And if we know in advance, then we prepare. And then we are not worried or scared when it happens, because we know already that will happen. And then we set up our mind in a virtual way for each step that is happened. Then we will obtain the good result, because we know all the sign and all the things happen. It's very important to know the process of dying.
그래서는 완전 소부디 뭐 있는 게 중요하다. 영화식의 존재를.
So we need to know that our body is composed by 4 elements.
그래서는 사, 추, 내, 룸, 뜻으로 봐.
That means when we talk about the element of earth, water, fire, and wind.
다음도 시도도 삼아 지들을 누구냐면 그거. 추 누구냐면 사이 누구냐면 저도 삼아 아니 말한 소리야. 나로 따지가 치로 따진다를 이유가 됐어.
And then of the time of the dying, we all of these elements degenerate and dissolve in another element, and it will show us the sign, the outer sign and inner sign.
그다음에가 이거. 다음에가 당고된 건 사스에 줘로 그거는 사기 누구냐 봐. 힘이야 그 누구냐 봐. 사기 누구냐 말이야. 냠도 좀 누구도 디스트레이 차지. 아마 안 사치를 들고 아마 남게 따진 거를 나와 들이 무슨 때 나와 그러니까 미치다고 나온 거예요. 치기 따도 가르인 거라서나 아니 치기 따들이야 다음도 누리지 마세 가서라다 루스 차 누구냐 봐. 와 누구냐 봐. 루스타 친구가 뭐 근데 아니 누구야 말이야.
So at the time that we live this life, the earth element, that means the solid aspect of the body, is start to degenerate and dissolve into the water element. At that time, we have the outer side and inner side. We lose the physical strength or vitality and luster of our body is diminished. And the outer side is happen that we become thinner and lose our limbs loosen. And the inner side happens that what we see in our mind is look like a mirage.
네 거래. 다 사출에서 춤 멜라팀도 삼아야 춤도 멜라차도 같은 누가 차도 삼아 아니 난게 따지고 나라야 도에 잡았다고 막 소목을 잡다고 나와 있거래. 치다들이야 아니 카드 컴퓨터나 아니 맹한도 추도 망고 지기도 와. 로봇도 컴퓨터야. 그것도 내 근데 잡을 거래.
And then the water element, that means is the water element, that means the fluid of our body degenerate and then dissolve into the fire element, that means the warmth of our body. At that time, we have the outer side and inner side. The inner side, that what we see in our mind is look like a puff of smoke. And the outer side, that means we lose on the feeling, our mouth dry up, and then we can see that many people at in the hospital they put the water in the mouth to give us some liquid, but it's like it's dry up, and then we will lose on this control.
다 가르쳐나 다네. 누구를 tinha 가르쳐나 다 말하고 남게 따지 모르 남게 따라 가르쳐나 아닌데 말하고 다 쇼파 바라는 좀 마치 가봐서 얘기를 말해 치 따들이야 안 들으냐 뭐 그러면 줘야 비우고 그래.
And then when the fire element, that means the warmth of our body, degenerates and dissolve into the wind element, that means the current, the breathe, the air in our body. Then the inner side, that what we see in our mind is look like a firefly. And on the outer side is that means that the warmth in our body is diminished and our body become cold.
다 비제라 가르쳐나 롱남치를 티. 살롱 그거 냠도 좀 아니면 우 남게 따치 다니고 남게 따도 가르쳐나 마음에 타고 있어 봐 주시는. 내 마마 반에 되게 구조 맞게 더 그래. 치기 따들이야 안 가르쳐도 우 갈리들이랑 갈리들이 주처럼 마 주시는 야 인가로 잡아서 버들이 용되게 다들 갈리들 우가도 그래. 다들 가면 마음에 저거 따는 가르쳐나 롱비 구조야 용으로 삼아 아니 쌤들 똥 되게 그래.
And then the outer side, it happens that we experience difficulty of breathing. Then exhalation become longer and inhalation become shorter. And then the wind also, it stop, but the moving in the not in the way that it usually is moved. and our throat emit rattling or gasping, what you say, gasping sound.
다들 그래서 당 먼저 쉬워 생기다 아니 당 먼저 지당 게 치워도 차요 그래요. 남부 쇼네 다들 치 상마 시사 공치야.
And then when we stop breathing, we think that we die. But for the Buddhist point of view, the way we practice, we don't die yet. It's still our consciousness is still working.
다 가르쳐나 단단 가지고 다 망고지 넣어봐. 다 뒤에 누구 삼아 아니야만에 공지 요배나 사이드들이 여기서 봐 다스템 상고서야. 아니 다스템 이렇게 가지고 개명을 두더라. 겨와치만 야고 이거 두서래요.
When this signs happen, then that means we are experiencing the suffering. But because we know in advance what happened, and then we change our mind into the virtuous thought, and then we try to be good, continue to keep that virtuous mind during the time that we practice at that time, and keep all the time that is a positive thinking.
Mind peace.
Yeah, and mind become peace.
If
we have an experience that we do during our lifetime, then at that time we feel relaxed, you know, and mind peace to go. And at that time, we don't die yet. Our consciousness is start to be degenerated, and it will come out with different appearances. The first is the white sky might appear, and then the red, orange sky might appear, and then after that the black sky might appear, and at the end is the mind of the clear light. When we stop breathing, the appearance of the white sky might appear. It looks like the light of the moonlight is appear, and for the Buddhist practitioner, we used to practice the emptiness. Maybe it will not at the point to understand and realize the emptiness, but think about that. Everything is really, you know, it's about the emptiness. Yeah. And then after that, when we go through that four process of the scan mind, that at the end with the mind of clear light, then we practice the emptiness.
Last time moment emptiness catch, then 먼저 가르쳐 dumé 용세 싸워게 세 고라스틴 생각해. 세 차례신기 싸워 세 고라스틴 dumé 용세 싸워를 매번 그러세요. 원다도 소리예요.
And then at moment, if we understand the emptiness, we catch the emptiness, we realize that if the root of our suffering is come from the self-grasping mind. And then self-grasping mind is the base of the self-cherishing mind that we exercise every time in our lifetime.
And
at that moment, we realize like that, we will be able to uproot our ignorance through the self-grasping mind, and then we will have the good future. But if we cannot practice the emptiness and cannot know all of this essence of the suffering, even it just have a virtuous mind, a good mind, then if we believe in the next life, then this will help for future life.
땅도 망고지 라버데 두지시라면도 다 간다 들들러라 그런 또 가르쳐는 안 치워서 등에는 등에 시셔들이 이 면에서 전지도 맞서 지금 샤베나 이 등에만 너무 까도 그래. 나다 와서 등에 시셔들이 다.
And now because we don't have enough time to go further in this, so I just would like to tell you that the worst suffering in our life is death. And we know that it will come anytime. And that's why we need to plan our life in the good way, in the meaningful way, in the beneficial way.
Less suffering.
And then we have less suffering.
After God, all this. Then the mango method, mango yoga, then around monastery in the Zavakashi, Yamech, Dawa, Dawa, the meditation, Shikane, the big to what with Mama. What a people to get
So
yeah, in the monastery, yeah.
So you can see that it's a very good that if we practice that way, you can see that many monks in our monastery in India after that they still there. The body is still there. Look like they do the meditation on that. Even the physically is already spoke of everything, but during that time, it still takes a time until they actually face with the actual death.
Sometimes 1 month, body no smell, nothing. 1 month, sometimes 3 weeks, normally die just 2 days, otherwise smell. That's where they are practice this way.
No smell at happen.
Anything. Yeah. That's a look at fish in a shop.
So the flesh is still look like alive.
Yeah, alive. Do live something like that. There is relation. This is some of the now to me, condition in a young Jibuji Yoga, so my church would my narrow muscle change from seeing that.
So, and then as I have some advice that now you understand that, and then whatever happened to us, unfavorable circumstances, don't keep your mind narrow, don't be desperate, don't have a sorrow. We always have a remedies. We always have the way to escape of that and keep with the virtuous mind, do something with good for ourselves and for others. And we are not, it's not the end. We know how to overcome it.
Handle it. Yeah,
we can handle it.
Anything, yeah. So
we have just only 10 minutes, so we leave you the time to ask the question if you have a question.
Yeah, any question?
Any question is not for
no
this topic?
Yeah, no need to be subject. You have any question?
Yeah.
No politician. I don't know politician.
Yeah, Rinpoche said you can ask any question. It's not necessary for this topic, but there's no political question.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this talk. So I'm sure there are a lot of questions. I will open it up to the audience. If you can raise your hand, then we can, in the reaction button, then we can see who is great. Kathleen, yes.
So thank you very much. That was awesome. There was an awful lot there, and it was very, very interesting. But the question I have is, you mentioned that when you die, just before you die, or just before your body dies, you see the white, almost light of the moon, and then you are empty. And my question is, do every time somebody dies, are they empty? And if not, if you die without being empty, what happens?
시스템 참모성이 중에서 쌤 락바체가 가능한 쌤 참모죠. 들려야 통상적인 진짜 있다는 거 두스레.
So it's the time we are living with a gross mind. That means we have a pure mind, but because it's contaminated, it's covered by so many negativity that we don't use that kind of mind. And then when it already physically stop, our consciousness is still working. And that's why it appears with the different kind of appearances of white and red and black and clear light. So when we say that it's not empty of everything. Here is mean that everything is empty of nature doesn't exist. By the nature, thing it doesn't really exist. Everything is contaminated by the condition and the thing that happen that we call the gross mind, and the gross mind start to eliminate, to leave the subtle mind, that means the nature of mind. That's up here.
I think I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a challenge for everyone. So, other questions that people have? Well, we still have a few more minutes, so I'll ask a question. So you talk about the main problem being the self-grasping mind, the tight mind, and one of the main practices would be to understand oneself as others, the same as others, or others the same as oneself. So the question, I think, in the world now is how to extend that further than those we see around us, that we know others are suffering all over the world, but we don't see them except maybe on our screens. So what would be a Buddhist practice of extending that virtuous mind, to loosen the mind of suffering, to others that we do not come in contact with or see?
Shishidi soso wangi ani samba sambo komtowa. Soso yabu chen chitu bayena ani slowly pajoli chitu baye. Tango ganzo ka ranchen zin se paras kin se jewas. Step cherishing se paras ni orwas. Tango step cherishing ding ganzo pa kali de disjoiche. Di jes kali an kalsan singe share pento sha sim sambo di le bayena di kali pento to baye. Tango rang chidna ne share pa kali bas.
So it's very important that we do that kind of practice to ourselves, because it's very important, our being, our attitude, our virtuous attitude, through understanding that self-grasping has to be eliminated, and whatever I do, I will benefit others. That is just the talking, but important ourselves, we have to practice that, to have that. And slowly with our attitude, doesn't matter what we do, our attitude will show out our good personality, our the way, virtuous way of living. Then we will benefit others. First of all, we have to be in that condition, in that state.
For example, Nobel Prize Rania Mangush to us. Nobel Prize Rania Tango is made social same sample practice. Shana pensing the correctly needs to tone share and Manguchi, that is some Buddhist and price to the Mutua. Tango social practice you for us. Then deep need to English. Social practice is not the matters.
So one example for those who are noble people who got the Nobel Prize for peace. First, that person had to practice to have that really compassionate person and a really good. That's why that person get the Nobel Prize for peace. So, and then other people look at that and say, why that person get that prize? Because if that person really had some activity benefit others. So you admire the person and admire the quality of the person. Then we arise in our mind also, that is virtuous quality.
Then other people benefit. The Tibetan say, underground you have to go, shining go up. That's it. There's so
In Tibetan, we have a proverb that say that is on the crown there is a wand, that the wand will be shining up to the sky. So the person with a good quality, then it will shine. And then even if now with the time that we know contact people, we go with online, we talk, we see, it doesn't mean that we cannot benefit them. If we are good, then many ways that we can help people. Doesn't matter that it's a physical contact or it's a contact online also.
Yeah. First, maybe you are close people. After go this close, other people, one people, you have close. These people are another people. These people are another people. And many go look like good thing. Many go spread. Yeah, look like this. Cannot other way. One person cannot go. Slowly go this way. We show up that the body, spirit, mind need the good way. Other belong to the compassion, loving kindness. That's good to there. Then other people see slowly. This whole work in the world, peace comes to that way. I don't know.
Let me emphasize on our body, speech, and mind. It will shine out. If we come with that virtuous way of life, then it shine out through your body, speech, and mind. And then from there you can benefit, spread out and benefit others.
Many peaceful ways.
Thank you very much. And we have a couple more questions. Can we take those questions, or do you need to leave? We have 2 more questions. Is that okay? Yes, no? Okay. Yes.
So if we don't have any questions, then Rinpoche have something to say before we finish the talk.
There are 2 more questions. Two more. Okay. So Raymond.
Hello. First of all, thank you very much for this talk. It was very enlightening and helpful in such a difficult time that everyone is going through. My question is very aside kind of from this, and it's very specific, so I hope people don't mind, but there's a concept within Tibetan Buddhism that I've been trying to understand for a long time from that perspective, and that's sahaja. And I'm just wondering, could you please kind of speak to that a little bit? Thank you.
Sahaja. Okay.
So in the Buddhism, it's so many things that we cannot talk shortly, but for the essence thing, that 2 things that I would like to share with you. That one, that is we have to cultivate the virtue. That means we become a kind-hearted person, honest person, and beneficial and meaningful way of living. That is very important. That we train our mind in the virtuous way. That for the living, that is a lot of practice to have that. That is very focused. never harm others, and always lead in the virtuous way. That is a method for many practice to cultivate that. Another one is to realize that everything, phenomena, everything is the dependent arising. If by the nature it doesn't exist, everything exists based on the condition that happen. So it's called dependent arising. So if we understand the two, then it will help each other.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And then we have one last question from Faiza.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really interesting talk. My question maybe it's a little obvious or clear. I don't know because I'm not so much familiar with them Buddhism, but I want to know what are the social or political consequences of looking at the suffering or understanding it in this way. I mean, for example, in the face of an oppressive ruler or a lot of oppression, for example, what path does a Buddhist take? Because, you know, most of the time this kind of ruler don't believe in karma or any kind of thing like that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So
We can hear.
Yeah, okay, yeah, maybe.
So it doesn't matter that the people can practice and religious and understand the have a religion or no religions. Everyone is by nature have a love and kindness and understanding and tolerance, and everyone always have a karma, the cause and effect. Whatever we do action, the result will happen. So all of that. And then because all of us have that, even the patient and all the quality, everyone has that. And then it doesn't matter they practice or no practice, this is have inside, and one day then when people understand that, it still come out of something that can benefit others and help others.
Yeah. No more. We have religion or no religion, no matter, no religion, no religion. No matter, we have the patience, then peace coming. We have the anger, then suffering coming. Show up the anger before return back the suffering. That is normal, everybody understands. 잠바 인지 그때 걔는 고난들의 사프를 여봐요. 사프를 여하니까 인지의 잠바도 걔는 그래.
So it's the people with non-practitioner, even they don't believe in anything, they still facing with the suffering, and they always looking for happiness, and they understand they have all kind of the feeling, and then sooner or later it will come to the mind of people because with these qualities that are there.
그래서나 at least look like 파 저와체 잠바체나 술에 니들이 가보시고 그러봐. 파 콘도 되나 술에 콘도 이 리졸브가 수 콘도 인구도 봐. 이 politician 게 하고 그러봐. 아마로 그 위치 그러봐. 네 나는 제부스야 되는 거예요.
So it's
example,
for example, if we are kind to others, one day we will receive their kindness, you know. And if we do something good for others, one day we will receive any good result from others. Politician or whoever is no practitioner, they know about that, and then one day it will happen to them.
I mean, we show the other anger, we receive come to the anger, then no happy. That's very different. One kindness, receive come to the happiness. People kind to we happy. We show up the anger, they come to the anger, we know happy. That's why look like karma is cause look like similar. That's why. Example, this is more thing, this is similar. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
Then
they still say that even the politician, they have a loving kindness, they have a compassion in different way, and sooner or later that quality will rise up.
Yeah, people might changing slowly, step by step.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Question. That's what I try to.
So,
So thank you. I think that's all the questions. So thank you so much. And you said that sorry, the thing is making a sound. So you said that His Eminence had something to say at the end that you wanted to say?
아니, 단다 계란 포란지로 딱 말해서와 이제 다시 지금 여가래. 난 시라게 가보죠. 아니, 아마로 토지체 엔터링한도 가고 시야치도 중앙국에 뭔가 에스트레 요래. 중앙국에서 가고 시야치제 간다만 부르다. 미라 센상도 또야. 미라 펜도지야. 와다 그 잠민지기 술에 있는 부분에 와다 그게 받쳐줘야 된다. 그런 말을 주세요. 아마로 토지체. 아니, that's a fun
and His Eminence say thank you very much for Professor. That is every year we have a chance to see each other and we can share some idea about life and spiritual practice. And then it's on of you. Also, I have happy to see all of you and to share also all of this idea about a life and a practice. And I would like everyone to think about that and try to have a good mind to transform the mind in the virtuous way to bring yourself the happiness and also you live yourself in the meaningful life and beneficial life. That is, I pray for you to have the opportunity and also the good condition to have this happen to your life.
I think everyone take care.
And everyone take care and keep safe.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and thank you, and may you remain in good health, you and the Sangha, all of you there in Toronto and Calgary and all over the world. So thank you so much for joining us, and